Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, and welcome back to Third Culture Convos. Today, we're talking about a world event that affects everybody in a way, whether you like it or not. Today, we're talking about the World Cup, and specifically the World Cup in Qatar. The build up soon. It's Friday. The first game's on Sunday, and every day seems to be that there seems to be a new story, or every day there seems to be a new story. And I think this World Cup, different from almost every other World Cup, I think in history, and no World Cup has ever been more political. And I think the I got a lot of angles on this, Majid. I got a lot of angles, man. I got like
Is it the most political World Cup or has it been made the most political World Cup? Is my question. First
well,
question. I know there's nothing but angles. This is the
yes,
problem. This is
yeah,
Barcelona tiki taka. There's nothing but angles, bro.
yeah. There's definitely nothing but angles, man. It's nuts, man. I think like so. All right. I think first and foremost, we're talking about it's a December World Cup, and so like it's cold in a lot of places in the world, and it might be snowing in a lot of places in the world, and it doesn't feel like a World Cup. I'm not in a even though it's Christmas, I'm not in a festive mood. If you guys catch my drift. um, I want I'm used to there being a gap. Like there's a gap in the window in the summer.
Are you still going to watch the games? Before we even continue, are you going to watch the World Cup?
I think I would be lying if I said I wouldn't watch some. And for a few reasons, because it is a historical World Cup in the sense that, like, if Saudi Arabia is playing in the World Cup, I'm watching watching those games. If Canada is playing in the World Cup, I'm watching those games. Canada hasn't played in the World Cup in a really long time. I'm watching those games. If any of the big boys are playing, man, it's a World Cup, man. It's a World Cup. Of course, I want to watch the games. And like, yeah. So yes, I am watching the games. I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try.
Is it a World Cup? Mane is injured. Is it a World Cup with Mane injured and all of these Pogba's injured? Like you said, it's a Winter World Cup, so like we're already going into the World Cup with
Well,
mad injuries.
this is part of the everyday of the every like so just like zooming out from the players, this is part of the news every day. So the last week was everybody's falling apart, man. The arms are falling off, their legs are falling off. They're like they're trying to screw it back on. They're doing whatever they can. They're squeaking. I saw a report of like from like maybe 6 months ago, and they were showing how like the parking lot of one of the stadiums was still a construction zone, and it was like maybe like 180 days like to go. So it's been and I mean, I don't know if you've ever been to Qatar. Actually, imagine you've been to Qatar.
I used to live there.
You
Yes.
used to you used to live there, and like I've visited Qatar as well, and it's a very small country, right? It's a very small country, very small city, and let's zoom back, and I'm sure everybody's seen the videos, like it's on Netflix, the how the host was selected, Russia in 2018 and Qatar in 2022, and there were a lot of, let's just say, because let's us say question marks. um, it seemed, and I guess like my issue. So one on one angle, my issue with FIFA and in general is that they hold really lofty ambitions for their organization in the sense that they say, soccer can change the world. And when you make a statement like that, you are making very political statements. But then once, like, a week out, they're like, we don't want this World Cup to be political. Let's not make everything political. And you go, literally, dude, you just said, like, you literally placed your organization. The reason why you stated that you gave it to Russia and Qatar was so that you can change the world and change the mindsets. But it seemed like, like corporate greed. It's like on full display with FIFA. Like, like it's like, here we go, guys. It's like the Davos of of the world population of the people. Like, let's flex for these guys today, huh? Let's see who we can do. We give it. Um, and and I also feel that we're allowed to talk about this, but because what it has done is it's given, as Arabs and brown people, we are very aware of like racist sentiments that come our way when it comes to certain things, and like it's coupled in Qatar because like now it's like a free for all, right? Like it's like a punching bag, and sometimes you're like, man, no.
Those racists, the thing is, we're sensitive to racism in football, especially now as Arab, Muslim, brown owners have taken hold of clubs and are being successful at them. So, like, you'll hear like the dog whistling when it comes to Man City or PSG owners, even though United are pretty much playing the same game. If you look at cash spent, Barcelona, which is the people's club more than a club, has spent the same amount of money as this, but you'll only hear the criticism when it comes to the city owners or the Arab Muslim owners. Does that make sense?
Yes, yes, yes. Well, I mean, they also hated American owners. I think this is like in general, Europeans don't like people outside of Europe, I feel like. But there is a hierarchy of the who they like and dislike, like or like how like where you fall on that list, right? In terms of the people that they dislike. So they like certain places more less than another. You know what I mean? So like it's fine. Like American owners, okay. Emirati owners, no. Like they have a high. I feels like there's a hierarchy of of I kind of want to call it. I want to call it hate, but I want to call it like where you use your hypocritical glasses, right? Because one of and like my response to that is show me one country in the world that can host the World Cup based on its humanitarian record. Show me one. Like pick one. Like who? The States? Because like they're getting like the States, Canada, Mexico get it next. Oh wow. Like you want an argument for it? Like like do I need to make an argument? Especially as a third culture, we know like I feel like a lot of the glaze that exists on a lot of countries where like some of that like propaganda that existed over the last like what 60 70 years that like we kind of may have swallowed when we were younger. Then you grow up and you kind of see, oh, that's why these guys don't like Americans. Oh, that's why these guys don't like these guys. Oh, that's why these guys don't like these guys. Like, oh, that's why they don't like the British. Oh, that's why they don't. Oh, because they did. Okay. And so once you were when you're in a position to be able to see all that, I simply say then, well, like if you assigned World Cup to only the humanitarianly like okay countries, you're not actually going to assign it to anybody. You're not going to be able to assign it. So when you use that yardstick to measure, uh, then I feel like you're already like saying, oh yeah, because of the humanitarian, they shouldn't get it. And you go, okay, well then no one should get it. You know what? Let's cancel the whole thing. There shouldn't be. We don't deserve international tournaments where like we come together and enjoy ourselves and watch a gladiatorial event, a sporting event. We don't even deserve that because we can't get along.
It's also sad that it doesn't provide any sort of moment of self-awareness when you speak of like um I mean, no one wants to talk about like Abu Ghraib
Yeah,
prison torture, for
yeah,
example.
yeah,
We don't want
yeah,
to like Guantanamo Bay. We don't want to. We want to pretend like that's part of the. We have to do
yeah,
that. Like that's
yeah,
not
yeah.
like we were forced into that.
That
Like
that
no,
it's
you
the
guys.
dark part of history. Like like it's like it's
Yeah,
history.
yeah, yes.
Yeah, yeah,
Like
it's history. It's
um,
done. It's not happening right now anymore. Like,
we did it like 20 years
yeah,
ago, but that was like
yeah,
20 years ago. For you guys,
yeah,
it's like 20 years is like, yo, you just were
yeah.
20 years. Like our 20 years seem to be very different
Yeah,
judgment wise.
yeah, yeah,
And yeah, it's just, man, I don't know. It's hypocrisy all over the place. I don't know how to explain it.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
just everybody, um, like everybody is a hypocrite in this case. Even I will say,
Mm-hmm.
unfortunately, the worst one is Qatar for the footballing like reason that like they had promised a summer World Cup, which is the main
Yeah,
point for me. Like you guys had promised a summer World Cup and you're doing a winter one. that for me, from a sporting perspective, just in terms of like now people are talking about, like nobody's talking to the athletes. Like these guys are not machines, they're human beings. Forget the mental toll. Let's first talk about the physical toll. Because it does take a lot out of you to constantly play in
Man,
these Premier
I
League,
think,
Champions League.
yeah, we're gonna set up the bets for how many people make it through the group stage. I think they're gonna come through on like crutches because dude, they just played two friendlies over the week. They just landed in a like totally different time zone. Like
And
it's not
climate.
in climate, like it's hot. It's they're there, and I'm telling you, man, I think like we're gonna watch them to see them fall. Like they're all like this is a battle of
I
attrition. This
mean,
is these are battles of
it
like
is. It
yeah, yeah. Like imagine
it
the games that go to extra time, right? Like
and it's a battle of attrition going forward, even in terms of the Premier League and the Champions League this year. By the end of April, May, the team to win the Champions League is going to be the healthiest team. It's just
yeah.
attrition at this point.
Anyone's
The
still
team that
standing.
has the deepest bench. Halas.
Harvey Elliott. The like one of the but what this ties also when it comes to Qatar is I think what people aren't used to when it comes to probably Qatar and a lot of like governorships and like the way sort of governing works in the like in the middle in there is that you it's not necessarily in consultation. It's like we tell you what the rules are now. And the rules were like yesterday could have been something, and today there's something else. And the populace is like, all right, okay. I mean, you just tell us the rules so that we know what they are, right? Like, so, like, please.
The populace is one thing, and then even individual behavior. Sepp Blatter is like hugging shamelessness.
Yeah,
It's weird that he's so openly sort of shameless about this.
yeah, yeah.
It's weird that you don't have
Yo,
any like
he's emboldened because he like beat his case, and he thinks that like, yo, I got away with it, scot free, baby. Like,
Teflon Don, bro. The
yeah, yeah,
Teflon
yeah.
Don.
Like now he's just bouncing around, like, and today the news that I saw today was so a big like, and that's what I mean. Every day it's something new. So every time we wanted to do this World Cup recording and like the build up to the World Cup, every day we've talked, like Majid and I, we've talked about something that happened that day. There's something that happened that previous day. The whether it was the Danish like and I also find it funny that these are the flare ups like because like you know it's an isolated like it's an isolated incident in a wider in like there's a lot of news crews there, and so the one where you had the security guard that wasn't very good, and so in case you don't know what I'm talking about, Danish news crew was filming in a public spot in Qatar as security officials come by and they're like, no, you can't film here, and then they flip and they're like the Danish news crew and they're like, you invited us to this country, why won't you let us film, this is a public place, and then they're like, we're gonna break your camera, and then the Danish guy he's like so happy when they say that, he's like, oh, break it please, like that's gonna be so good. Like he has his news mind, like he has his journal, like he's like
virality, bro. Virality.
yeah, yeah. He's like, oh,
Tweets,
oh, you gonna
man, the
break it? Go,
tweets.
go, please break it, please, please. Like here, let me bring it closer so that you can break it. And then they have to apologize because they were like, oh, that's not supposed because that's a PR stuff. That's a PR issue. And then this morning's news was that and a big like one of the parts. I mean, we haven't even touched on the LGBTQ plus situation, and but one of the news today was the alcohol situation. So Budweiser could sell in fan zones, and they had also set up like I think like areas outside the stadium where you can go and get a drink before you go in and whatever, and like get some Budweiser. And yummy, and they set up these things, but then today or yesterday they announced that they're not going to have them anymore, the ones outside the stadium, and and no one, and it seemed like the reaction So Budweiser's Twitter posted this is awkward, and then subsequently deleted it because obviously Budweiser thought that there was going to be those things because they paid for that to be there, and that was the plan. And most of the reaction is it's not that you don't want them there, like you don't want to put them there. It's the timing. Like it's like 2 days before you just change your mind. Like so the idea and so I even like I don't even know if these stories are true. Like that's why I'm like, no, maybe they told them like months ago, but or a year ago, and nobody was paying attention. And now it makes a great story to make Qatar look bad to be like, oh, 2 days before they changed the rules. But at the same time, I'm also like, yeah, but they would do that. Like like they totally like it's within their like. Yeah, you know what? We don't like the look of these here. Like, I've set up events in the Middle East, right? I've done these things, and the last day is the entire like you might as well go back to the drawing board on the last day because everybody's like, oh, move that, move this, like that, get rid of those things, um, and I feel like with like all of the issues in terms of like the alcohol, the LGBTQ, all this stuff, all of this stuff like all draws back to the like when the bids were like announced and like everyone at that point could see this coming. And the thing about FIFA that probably gets me like the most is how much of a like a strangle they have over world football. Like they've totally taken like the sport that a lot of people love and they hold it hostage and they smile at you, but they're holding it hostage. And so, and every time there's a World Cup, I'm like, I don't want to watch this one. Like I'm done. Like I'm done. I don't want to watch the World Cup. I always want to watch the World Cup, but I don't want to watch the FIFA World Cup. Like I don't want to watch the FIFA World Cup. And so this ties back to, I mean, I don't know if you guys know about the Super League and Florentino and what they were doing a couple of years ago in terms of like whenever anyone in soccer wants to do something else, like start a separate league, a rival organization, like, oh man, there is like hell hath no fury like the FIFA committee. Like, you know, like they won't let that happen. And I think like that's what people need to pay very close attention to.
Purely based on self-interest, not in it's purely based on self-interest, but they're selling it to you as if it's for the sport.
Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah.
They're the
Oh yeah. Of
protectors of the
course,
sport.
they're the protectors of the sport as they hold
The
it hostage, and get and sell it to the highest bidder, right? They like they've. It's like it's crazy. It's like man, like I just thought of what it might be like, but I just can't say. I don't. I know it's not. I can't say that, but it is. It's like you. Oh man, I
yeah,
can't
yeah,
say it.
filter on, please
Yeah,
filter
yeah.
on with this
Please,
subject. It's
guys.
too easy
Yeah, yeah. It's too easy to get too far.
to
But
make comparisons.
yeah, yeah, no, it just yeah, 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 yeah. You can make your own. Use your heads. Use your heads. But
Yeah, yeah, just connect dots, bros. Connect
yeah,
dots.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
everyone just
But the and I don't necessarily and unless there's another power structure like because so that was the thing with the Super League, right? So when there was another, and I hope this episode people that are watching like kind of have some new understand this stuff because I don't want to explain all this. But this with the Super League, it was reacted to very negatively in the beginning, and there might have been and there are reasons for that. I think multiple reasons why like the world population or the soccer watching population wasn't ready for that and the way it came out and like they wasn't ready for it. But I also think a big part of that is like FIFA, UEFA, and these organizing committees being like, oh, okay, let's watch this burn. Like, sure, this is gonna be great. I wouldn't be surprised if they're the ones that leaked it because like they could see how it would burn. Um, and but it's also because it's a threat to their power. And 2 years on from about maybe 2 years on from that incident, the Super League incident, and they would like to call the like collapse, and now it being in the courts because it has to be in the courts that they like the it's like the law has to stipulate whether it's illegal for them to set up a rival league. And like I mean, this is monopoly protections, right? Like this is
Similar things are happening in golf with the PGA Tour and this
yes,
Live Tour, the
yep,
Saudi-backed Live Tour with Greg Norman. Very similar. Like how, like one, I don't get like if I as an individual can get different offers and like their projects, like playing a golf tournament, why can't I play in different leagues at the same time and maximize my earning?
yeah.
Why am I like it's
Because they
like
own you. Once, like your ability, your skill, your name, once you build it, you're the one that sacrificed. You're the one that woke up in the morning. You're the one that like didn't see anybody forever because this is all you did. You're the one that like, I don't know if golf people take injections. Actually, no, they do play injured. Like sometimes they do. Um, and like with golf, so, like you the one that does the sacrifice, but they're the ones that own you. It's and that's why I say the gladiatorial like model. This is like this, anybody seen Spartacus, or any of that stuff. It's they own you.
Gladiator.
Yeah, or Gladiator. You own them. Like you own them. Like so like when you own them and you own the event and you own the stadium and you like what is it, the opiate of the people, right? Like this is what I want everybody looking at because there is a function to everybody watching this type of stuff. And I mean, like it seems rigged. Like even the England, Iran, US group, that's an absurd. Like that's absurd. Really? Like
I don't even know the groups this time right now. Until
yeah,
the football starts, I really, in
there's no
terms of the
it's
actual football, I really haven't followed anything. Usually, there's still a build-up. I do like for a week before, it's like World Cup mode, like on.
yeah.
This time, I don't know. I'm just waiting for it to start. Let's just start, get it over with, kind of thing. Like
Yeah,
whatever. I don't know.
we'll
It's
be
the summer thing is like completely off for me. Like that more
yeah.
than anything, it's just the summertime vibes and World Cup and like you
Yeah.
like those two are a killer combination, and you've broken them up.
It's like jet lag. I feel like we're jet lagged. Like we also are jet lagged in terms of the greater like thing because our time is off. Like our time, like wait, what? It's not. Is it 2 in the morning or is it 2 in the afternoon? I don't know, man. Like I just feel tired.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, by the way, what do you think of this idea that FIFA has been floating around through Arsene Wenger about biennial World Cup, a World Cup every 2 years?
These guys are getting greedy, man. They're getting greedy. Like not they're getting greedy. I think they're audacious. Like I'm all for change. Like I'm all for it. And you want to do it every 2 years. Like why? Like what other reason would there be? Like there are tournaments that happen every 2 years. Like the schedule's full. The schedule's full. So like,
Why why not is their argument. Their argument
like
is we can get more hosts crammed in, we
we
can
can get more sponsors, we can get more money. And then I'm like, are you like, and this is the thing about greed. It is never satisfied. It is a real disease, man. And I think like now I'm gonna get all philosophical. You got to go deep, man. You got to see how greed manifests itself in your life. You got to see where you aren't satisfied, like where like nothing will satisfy you. And I think everybody can look at themselves and find that thing in them. That it's like, and you gotta know what that thing is. You got to keep that thing in check. And so that's like I feel like the most positive thing that you could probably take from all of this talk is is see the reflection of that in you. And
greed is
man, yeah,
go ahead, go ahead.
no, and like I mean, manage it, control it, note it at the very least, because if you can see it, then that's like step one. Like you can be like, oh, there it is, like and like greed will never make you feel like satisfied, happy, and so like even and no matter how much you amass. And like it, there's plenty of religious stories about this, like the gluttonous, like I just keep going and keep going and keep going, and I never stop, and I keep eating, and I consume, and I consume this, and I consume that, and until I have everything. But then even at then I've fallen short, and even at then I have, because everything I'm eating does not fill the hole that's in my heart.
Yeah, that's what, like, greed is one thing. Capitalistic greed is a whole, like, it's greed on like
Yeah,
bath salts, right?
yeah,
Like it's like
yeah,
like it's a purpose, like there's no purpose to like
yeah,
what you're doing almost. Like
yeah,
sure you're successful, but would it, like, what was it all for?
yeah. And I wouldn't paint, like, I mean, like I'm like I'm not of the guy that's I'm not capitalism is bad guy and it's evil at its core tenet. I'm not that guy, right? Like I think capitalism is the way out for a lot of people, and like like it's a matter of privilege to say that capitalism is evil through and through. Then you're like, oh, because you don't need it anymore, huh? Like, okay, all right. Um, so like, of course, now it's evil because you got past the line, right? Um, but when it, of course, at the extremes of like capitalistic greed, which is, I think that's the subcategory, what you said right there. I think that's spot on. I think that's spot on.
I'm all for capitalism. I just want to be clear. I think I'm all for balance. I think you can have like make a for-profit company and then
Yeah.
also like do
Well,
some
like
good shit.
the idea that the company has to grow forever, like it can't ever just like chill at a certain size. It has to constantly grow. That is the greed part that's like hidden inside it, right?
That, and that's the exactly, like, it there's an almost inherent, and that's really dangerous in capitalistic greed, that like, yo, like, okay, what's why you're not
Yeah.
answering the Simon Sinek why?
Yeah.
Why are you doing this?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. What's your why? What you doing this? And then and like sometimes it's chips on shoulders, sometimes it's like and this off like just turning to capitalism, or capitalist greed. It's an ugly beast in the sense that, like, let's take a look at the biggest players in that game. Like this was crazy. So 2 days ago, Jeff Bezos announces that he's going to give like 500 trillion to charity or something. Like whenever he gives out a number, I don't pay attention because no, I can't even like register the numbers that this guy's talking. He says I'm going to give this all to charity or whatever, or to issues that cause, and then he picks some virtuous issue, like the issue of the day, and then the next day Amazon announces layoffs of like to like and you go, interesting, one day after the other, huh? Like, look at that, like like it's like paying off the masses. You pay us off.
So this just did you have you you're wearing the Argentina jersey. Did you follow, have you been following
Yo,
the
David, I've
FTX
been
guy?
wait. Like in full disclosure, I've been offered. I've been following the FTX guy. But full disclosure, I've been offered by Messi's covering my Argentina jersey. He's like, because they need fans. So they you know how Argentina needs fans in the Middle East. There aren't enough. Like
Yeah, yeah.
like and like that story about them like
Brazil or
paying.
Argentina
Yeah,
fans.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
It was clearly written by people that have never been to the Middle East. The story of them paying like a bunch of like people to be Brazil fans and paying so that there's a lot of people. And you're like, dude, have you ever been to the Middle East? No, you haven't, because everybody is a Brazil or Argentina fan, right? Like they're a Germany fan. They're a friend. There's not a lot of Germany fans, but there's Germany fans. But there are France fans.
Brazil,
There are Italy.
Argentina. These two is
Yeah,
undeniable. These two,
yeah.
Brazil, Argentina,
Italy.
the jersey
Yeah,
at
yeah.
least is
It's
undeniable.
absolutely. And like so and we don't have the same holdup. Like so like in South America, yeah, an Argentinian isn't gonna wear a Brazil jersey. You're not gonna find an Argentinian that's a Brazil fan. Why would you? It doesn't make any sense. But in like Asia, you're not gonna find like a like we happily support two or three or four nations. No problem. Like
Well, we got the, like, if the first country doesn't win, we want this country because
yeah,
they're at
yeah.
least friends with the,
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
like
It's and we'll go out and like like if I had an opportunity to go and see like I mean I'm not like this, but maybe in my younger days, if the Argentine, if Portugal, the Portuguese team was coming down, I got to go see Cristiano Ronaldo like come down with the team. And I wear a Portugal jersey. I don't care. And most of those jerseys are fake anyway. Like we get them, like the stores that we can get the knockoff jerseys from, like the entire all of the third world, quote unquote, are knockoff jerseys. Like you see them, you every meme and video you see, like they're always wearing like a Chelsea jersey. They're not wearing a Chelsea jersey. Like he's wearing a knockoff of a Chelsea jersey. Like it's
Yeah.
but that's
Mostly.
the fodder to the racism that I was talking about. This is the fodder to that idea, and I'm sensitive of it as like you know the like especially with like Gulf Arabs, like the rich ones, right? Like even within the Arab world, like you can't introduce yourself as like a Qatari, a Kuwaiti, a Saudi without like being like, oh, can I get some oil?
Let me ask you a very interviewee question. Are you proud as a Khaliji Arab? Are you proud that your brethren are hosting the World Cup?
um, well, first and foremost, you're asking me. Pride, being proud, that's not proud of things I didn't do. Like that's the one thing I didn't do shit. So I like do I personally feel proud? No, I didn't do anything. Like I'm not proud of anything that I didn't do anything to do, like to make happen. So facts of being, why would I be proud of a fact of being? So put that aside. Am I like, is a part of me happy that it's like in the Arab world or in the Khalij, or is a part of me that it's happy that it's in the Arab world? Yes, because I was disappointed because I remember when Morocco, I think, was making a bid. I
Yeah,
was
man, it
so
should have been
yeah,
Morocco. Like
yeah,
it
yeah,
should have
yeah.
been
When Morocco was
Morocco.
making
That
the
was
bid,
the like
yeah, I was so unhappy when Morocco didn't get it. And South Africa got it at that South Africa World Cup. You know, shout out Morocco. And I was very unhappy, and a big part of that was like the Arab brethren. Like this like I wanted to be in an Arab country. Like I wanted it to be in an Arab country. Like especially, you know, first World Cup, and I was also upset when Egypt didn't get it. Um,
that one would
like
have been really
like
good
I was
too,
also
no
upset when Egypt
doubt.
didn't get it,
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
so that's the flip to that answer. So if I'm upset when they don't get it, then I'm happy when they do. And even though it's mired in controversy, of course they're going to throw controversy at us. They won't let us have anything. Right? Like they won't like
No,
that's
well,
the virtue of the world, right? Like that's and who's them? Who's them? We all know who that is. I feel like you know who I'm talking about.
well, let me just color that in. The controversy is started by let's say Fox News over Budweiser. I just want to be clear here. Qatar might be the backdrop, but the players involved are generally from a certain area and do a certain thing in society
Yeah,
and
like
economics.
every news story has a like there it's never objective, right? There's a subjective idea behind it. There's something that they're trying to imply, I think. And like you know we're we're woke to that, quote unquote. Um to these the to like I think that's like you know part of it being awake to what like where you're coming from. And so for you, like I think that's probably the great con. The great con is that like the media is not doesn't have that agenda, and that's the great con, because of course they do, right? And like with individuals, like of course you have an agenda, I have an agenda, we're sitting here and we're kidding, and I could say I don't have an agenda, but I do have some sort of agenda. Like I have like, even if it is just to listen to you, right? Like it's a like, and to like understand you more, so either I can be convinced by you or so that I can find holes in your argument. So like I'll always come in, right? An agenda, it's like it's built in a priori to our interactions. But the great con is that they pretend that it's not there for them, for media, because of course they're going to be the nuanced one. And then that's where you start to see and I think that's where the wokeness or being awake right now to that, so that oh, okay, you're doing that because you're friends at Budweiser, right? Like because you're friends at Lockheed Martin, because you're friends at because you're friends, because you're like you're friends at big pharma, like you're friends at Pfizer, like, oh, okay. So at least we know, at least I know, then at least I can make this choice. I can make a choice on how I feel, what I want, how I want to deal with this news. But of course, that's a slippery slope of like, you're like, where's the truth? What's real? And that's kind of like the state of, I think, of many people in the world right now. It's like, I don't even know what to believe anymore. I don't and that smoke screen that they put in front of you. Okay, now this is my crazy, I think, is by design, because once that happens, you're out. You check out. You check out, and when you check out, I don't think the world gets better. Like, I think it needs.
You've lost. You've lost
yeah.
at that
You've
point.
lost.
You've like
and they've
quit,
won.
You're done,
and
right?
they've won. Like they've won.
And they have won
They have
decisively.
won.
Yes,
And they have
yes.
won.
And that
yeah.
was the plan. That's their
And that was the plan.
plan,
And that's the
right?
plan.
Is to like grind you down, like chisel
Yeah.
you away.
So like even in knowing
Day by
that that's
day.
even in knowing that's not enough. Even in knowing it's not enough. It's like that's the plan. So like what you have to do is despite this happening, I think the real work that every individual has to do is at that point is to not check out, but to look to their circle, their community, and to see how they can be the antidote to this. To like look at themselves, look at their life, look around them, and see how they can be the antidote. How they can be the cure to this sort of unfettered greed, to this like just ever consuming beast that would rather you be a cog, that would rather you just shut up and buy the good, produce the good, just be quiet.
Buy. Pay taxes, pay taxes, pay taxes. That's the plan.
Yeah.
Buy.
Yeah. And keep me good, because they don't, this is what's not, they don't live like I don't think people understand, or it's actually almost impossible to fathom what like the 1%, like, because there's always going to be a 1%. So I'm not like angry at the 1% or 2% or 3%. It's the disparity. That's the like, but the life in the world. There's this movie called Greed that was it's like a British parody film about the fast fashion industry. So the guy, like, your H&Ms, and you're like where you go, and every year you got to buy new clothes, and like, where are these clothes made, and why are they so cheap, and what does that do to the people that like own it and run it, and so it's called Greed, and it's unbelievable. It's a very cool, very good film, and of course the theme is like the main guy, the guy who's the like the H&M quote unquote CEO, the guy who like founds it. He's obsessed with Gladiator. It's interesting. Like, he's obsessed with Gladiator. It's the story, and so you see this story repeat in history over time, all the time, and it's a crazy story to help you reflect on what like just and everything that's going on like right now. It's
Well, you brought up a very interesting hypocrisy that no one wants to talk about. They love bringing Qatar, human rights, and stuff like that. But then looking at your jersey, there's that logo over there for Adidas, and you just wonder, like, what conditions are there labor rights for the people who made that jersey?
Yeah.
Like, how do they have rights? Are there not any, like, is everything clean in those factories? I just want to know, because we're okay consuming Adidas, buying Adidas stock, but we're not okay with traveling to Qatar.
Yeah.
Boycott Qatar, but buy Adidas.
Yeah. But that's also kind of why I like knockoff stuff, because I like knockoff jerseys, because I like even like knockoff iPhones and stuff, and like I like them because it's the worker that like is like, oh, I could do this. Like He's like, I could just take this out. And that stuff, they have no tolerance for this, and they will imprison you forever for doing this. And they do pushes to protect intellectual property of brands. And so, and like, I understand that. I really do understand that. But at these astronomical, like these, like there is a point where a brand just breaks the barrier, and now is a, like, you know, once you got shareholders and lots of them, and you're publicly listed, and you're publicly listed, and like it's a total, you're not you know, you're not your small town brand anymore, right? And at that point, a part of the mischievous part of me is that I'm very like, oh yeah, man, let the little guy like sneak a few jerseys and sell them out, and like, you know, I mean, and does it like, it hurts the integrity of Adidas? Oh, also that too? Wonderful.
I mean, yeah, bro. Like, give the like Adidas
Sure.
guys some dollars, whatever, man.
Yeah,
And like,
yeah.
not every kid can afford it. Some kids want that style, but they
Exactly.
can't afford your
They can't
brand,
afford.
so they want to
Yeah.
like they have to buy this
Yeah,
thing.
yeah.
Like, you
And
guys.
their cousin makes the jerseys. And their cousin's in there making the jerseys. He hasn't seen him in like 20 years because the guy's been in there for like forever.
He's so busy.
He hasn't seen him, and like he's plugged in. He's plugged in over there. But like, you know, like in Eid, he'll bring him. He'll be like, "Yo, I got this one off the." Yeah, it's defective. It's defective. It's not knockoff. It's defective. You know, they sell these. um, Yo, imagine this was always fun, man. I think we could have talked about this for a while. There's a lot of explosive things, but if you're gonna enjoy the World Cup, I hope you enjoy it. If your team's in the World Cup, I hope they do well. I hope all the underdogs beat all the big boys, and then we just have underdogs.
From Rashid, I know for sure he would say go Canada, and he would be under some strange delusion that Team Canada actually does have a chance at winning, or they're a dark horse. This is the
Yo, I'm
Canada's
with him.
golden
I'm with him.
generation.
I'm with
Oh
him.
my.
I'm with him.
Inshallah. I my prayers are
Yeah.
with you guys, but the like I don't know. Also good luck Team USA, whatever it is. I for once, for the first time in my life, I'm watching my country play one of like both Canada and US play in the World Cup. This is the first time I've actually had a horse in the race.
Yeah. Well, I'm my big hope. My favorite thing are the underdog upsets, and I'm watching for those. And I don't care. Like, I don't care who the big boy is. I don't care how
If we're
that.
going, no, 1 second. If we're going underdog, then yalla, inshallah, bismillah, Team Qatar all the way.
Team
Qatar
Qatar
to
team.
win in Qatar.
No, but then they won't even give them that.
Or to add even more masala, Team Saudi Arabia to win in Team Qatar. That's
Woo!
gonna like there's regional stuff, there's
No,
worldwide
man.
macro stuff. Like
No, I want Morocco to go all the way. I want every, like, I want all of the little guys to go all the way. I'm supporting all those teams. I hope everybody sends me jerseys, and like, yalla yalla, the World Cup's ours. Let's keep it, like, football's no place for politics. uh, have a good week, guys, and enjoy the opening.
yalla.
Yeah.